Good girl. Hi and welcome back. Today we're going to be doing something a little bit more current. Today we're going to be doing a little maintenance on my newest rig that I have, and it's a 2004 GMC Sierra. Now, the reason why I call this modern is because it's my newest form of four-wheel transportation. And it's one of the only vehicles that I've ever owned that's not older than me. And also, this is the only vehicle that I own that is not eligible for heritage or collector plates, because in this state it needs to be 20 years old, and she's only 19, so, still a baby. So we're going to get going on this one. What it needs is the water pump. Water pump's out, and it's, not doing its job. It's not doing the pumping thing. Last time I drove it, antifreeze was leaking out and wanted to overheat. I'm guessing it's coming from the weep hole. I already had the water pump off once a couple years ago to replace the gaskets. Tried to save a few bucks. Didn't replace the pump at that time. Kind of wish I did, because I hate dealing with anything that involves antifreeze. So with the shop supervisor here, we're going to get going on this, and hopefully we can get it going and won't have any problems, because besides being my modern form of transportation, it is also her chariot. That's what she likes to ride around in. So let's get going and get this thing done. Well, to get started here, we're going to have to take off the air cleaner, and then we're going to take off the lower radiator hose to drain the antifreeze, and we'll also take off all the plastic stuff here. The reason why we have to take the lower radiator off, or lower radiator hose off, is because, I don't know if you guys can see down here, but let's see, right there is where the drain plug for the radiator is supposed to be. And sometime, I believe, well, this is 04, I believe sometime probably around 03, GM decided to remove the drain plug, probably to save a little bit of money, because I know the 2000s have it, and it's supposed to be a hose that runs up, and I believe it just shoves right through there. So, still spend the money on having all the retainers and everything there for the hose. So the lower radiator hose has to come off and, make a mess over everything, and that's another reason why it's in the grass here. So I got drain pans underneath to catch as much as I can, but don't want to make a mess all over the garage floor and have to clean that up. And also, with it being in the grass, it drops the front end a little bit lower, so it's a little easier to, get into the engine bay here. But, so I'll go and get this stuff off, and then we'll get you guys back in here for the next step. Okay, before I get too much more taken apart, I just want to get you guys in here and show you what's going on. Now I got the shroud off here, and then I'm going to be removing those two lines. You can see where I had that removed, and that clamp must have been leaking, so now this time I'll replace that one, and you can see that one was leaking at one point too. So that one, the other one was replaced. And then once I get it out, I have to figure out how to get the fan off. But otherwise, once everything's kind of removed, 3 bolts down in there, and 3 bolts here. 1, 2, and then there's 1 more right there. So it's just the 3. So 6 total. But it wasn't too bad to do. And then I have to take the belt off too, and then obviously the top radiator hose will come off. now that's going to sit here and drain. And while that does that, I'm going to pull the rest of the stuff off around here, the fan belt, serpentine belt, and then let's see, and then this upper radiator hose. I'll pull that one off, but hoping to drain a little bit. And you guys can see down there, it's going into a pan. It's not just going onto the ground, so don't be calling the IPA on me. Don't need to get in any trouble or anything. So then we'll properly recycle it when I'm all done here. But looks like it's slowing down now, so now I'll pull this one off. And you can see with the other ones, all I did was put them up so they won't drain over everything. But quite the mess, GM, since you guys were too cheap to put a drain plug in on this radiator. Okay, now we got the old water pump here and then the new one. I already pulled the fan off. Now this was a little tricky to get off. One of the things I would recommend, make sure you put some penetrating oil around the bolt here that holds the fan on. I guess it's like a 36 millimeter. I just had to use a crescent wrench, and it is normal right hand thread. And fought a little bit since I didn't care about the drum on the old water pump. I just put some vice grips on it, but it'd probably be easier trying to pull this off while the water pump is on and has the tension with the serpentine belt going around. But I was able to do it. But I'm going to hold off on putting the fan back on until I get the new water pump on, and then I can have the belt on and it will help hold this. So that's what I'm going to do there. Right now I'm taking the belt tensioner and the water neck off. I already got everything all loosened up. And see how everything goes, and I'm just going to transfer everything, clean up the surfaces, transfer everything over to the new water pump. Try not to lose the hardware in the process. That one's a little crusty. Now we have the gasket for the old thermostat, and it's different than what comes in this kit. This is just a ring that goes actually around the thermostat itself. It has a little groove in it. The new one comes with a regular paper gasket and an O-ring. So I'll have to see how that one goes in. And then we got the new thermostat, and actually that comes with the correct one. So that's the one we're going to use. But once I get this cleaned up, I'll get that in, and then we'll move on to the belt tensioner. Okay, I got the thermostat housing cleaned up and the new one put back. So according to the directions, 99 through 2003 uses the O-ring for the thermostat housing, and 2004 and newer uses the gasket. Now this is a 2004, but they supply those, I would assume, if you're not replacing the thermostat, which, I mean, I don't know why you wouldn't. It's not that expensive, and you got it apart. It's the time to do it. But with like I said, with the new thermostat, it came with the rubber one as the OEM has. So that's what I'm using, and not using what the water pump supplied. Now I'm just going to get the tensioner tightened down, and that's another thing that they said that you could also replace during this time, but because the bearings go bad. But again, I only got 168,000 on it. I'd assume it should last longer. And if it does go bad, it's something easy to change once it's on the vehicle. So we'll get these torqued down. Just the 3 bolts. They're 15 millimeter. For the thermostat housing, that's a 10 millimeter. And one last one. Double check here. Okay, there's the backside. Okay, I'm gonna go clean up the gasket surfaces on the engine block, and we'll go and get this one on. Get the gasket surfaces clean. All I did with that was scraped it first, got any big chunks of any old gasket material off, and then I just take a really fine, not even sure if it's like 1,000 grit, the wet dry sandpaper, and then a little bit less chance of the granules coming off, and then just went around it, smoothed everything out pretty good, and then just used some brake clean on a rag and wipe the surfaces. So now, shove the bolts back in here. We'll get the gaskets set onto the hardware. Let's see, there's the new gaskets. They both are identical, so it doesn't matter where each one goes. In this case, there's writing on one side and blank on the other, and each go one way. Writing on one side and blank on the other. Okay, now we'll just ease this in here. We'll start 2 on each side just so the gasket can't fall off and get out of whack. And now we'll start the 3rd one. I know before I said this should take, if you really plug along, about a half an hour. Well, give yourself an hour. Obviously, this is the next day for me. I had some family obligations last night, so I just got everything removed and kind of ready to go. We'll just get one tightened up to get this into place. I'll do the same on this side. Now, I'm not sure if there's an actual torque sequence or anything you need to do. I'm just gonna tighten her down. Just go from one side to the next and work my way out. Just get everything a little bit more than finger tight, and there, we just got everything snug down now. So we'll just tighten everything down and we should be good. We'll just keep going back around. And when I had the water pump off, I looked, and these bolts do not go into the water jacket of the block, so I didn't have to worry about putting a thread sealer on. Round 3. Round 4. Round 5. There. Want it nice and tight, but don't want to go too far, so hopefully don't crack the cast housing on the new water pump. But there, we got that on. Now all we have to do is get the hoses back on, clamps back on, throw some new clamps on, get the hose on, and then, or the the belt on, and then I'll put the water pump on. Or the, you can tell it's early. Put the fan back on. Well, obviously from the sun, you guys can see that some time went by. Well, I was out of hose clamps, so I'd run over and pick up a few. Figure if I'm going to do it, I might as well put new ones on. So what I'm going to do actually is take these old ones off, because I'm not even going to use the factory ones, because, like I said, I had a problem with them cracking. So I don't want to have these on, and have problems with them down the road. And they look good, but so did the other ones, and then next thing you know, they were leaking. Should be good there. And we got the lower hose. Go a little bit easier if I grabbed a bigger pliers, but I grabbed probably the smallest set that I have. You know, the garage is like 30 feet away, so a little too far to walk. There. Got those two in. Let's see. Those other ones are on. I'm just going to leave those. Everything's on. Okay, so I think we can get the belt on now. And then the fan. This way more complicated than it needed to be. And guess what? It's still loose. What? Okay, Brian. Follow the simple directions. Okay, start here. Down under the pulley. Up and over. Down around the crank. Back up around the fan. Down around the power steering. There we go. I'll just pull it off of that one. And have it all fall off. Well, now that wasn't too hard, was it? Yeah, it took way longer than it should, especially when there's a, picture. Okay, so that's all on. We'll get the fan on. Okay, now I'm gonna put the fan on. I'm actually just gonna throw a dab of blue Loctite on here. Not sure if you need it or not, but as much as this thing spins, I'd rather just try to be a little safe than sorry. Got that tightened down. Again, I'm glad I used Loctite because I can get it so tight with everything wanting to spin no matter what. If you guys have any ideas how to tighten that down a little bit more and prevent the drum here from spinning, throw it down in the comments. Let me and any other person watching know how it should be done. But still, I was able to get it snugged up pretty good. So now we'll get the shroud back on and then the air filtration system and toss some more antifreeze in it. We'll be ready to go. There. Now you don't see me use pneumatic or power tools too much. I mean, I know it's not like an impact driver, but it works. Something cheap I picked up, and hose clamps take forever to sit there and tighten down, so it's a little easier, a little quicker. Okay, there. Now everything is in, crank down, throw some antifreeze in it, and see if we have any leaks. This uses that Dex Cool antifreeze, the long life stuff, the orange stuff. Now this is full strength. It's $20 for a gallon. And the 50-50 blend, I think it was like 17 bucks. So for $3 more, I'm getting a full gallon versus just a half a gallon. And actually, it was kind of hard to find the full strength stuff, and everything was mixed 50-50. Looks like it's going to take the full gallon. We're pretty close. Now, I'm just using regular distilled water to mix with it. I put about 3/4 of a gallon of antifreeze in, and now this is about 3/4 of a gallon jug I had left here. Suppose I should look to see if there was anything leaking, just in case I didn't put something on, but everything appears to be fine. We'll just keep pouring. Don't have to worry about the drain plug on the radiator, since GM had to save, like 5 cents and remove it. So far, so good. Let's check over on the other side. Don't see any issues. I'm actually going to start it up and let everything start circulating. And again, everything won't circulate as much until that thermostat opens up. Stuff's not cheap, so I'm trying to get every little drop out that I can. I remember, just for the regular green stuff, paying $1 a gallon for it when it was on sale. I looked underneath, didn't see anything leaking. There, we got the reservoir up to the cold line, so that's good. Let's see, get some of these clips in that I missed. Right now you can see it bubbling where it's getting the air out of this system. So it's doing its job and doing what it's supposed to be doing. I'm gonna let it do its thing. Clean up here. Hopefully it'll warm up enough that that thermostat will open up and everything will start moving. Blinded by the light. Wow, is it a bright one this morning. But nice beautiful day out, about 75 degrees, out taking the truck for a test drive. Actually, I drove the truck yesterday when it was about 95, 100 degrees out, and everything went fine, no leaks anywhere. Temperature stayed at a nice, I guess 187, 195, something like that. You can see right there, no issues going on, other than, the check engine light, not sure why that's on. Went under there, checked it 3, 4, 5 times, and yes, there is an engine there. So we're not going to worry about that right now. Everything else seems to be going good though on the vehicles. Going to keep the new rig here up and going. So hopefully you guys like the video. Hit that like and subscribe. I got more coming to do on this truck here. Just got a few little other maintenance items, clean up a few things on it. Need to make it ready for the formal event, like the weddings, the funerals, family reunions, stuff like that. Need to make it a little bit more presentable than what it's going. Been slacking a little bit on this one just because I've been spending a lot of time on the other vehicles. So I need to step back to this one and just give it a little bit more love. So once again, thanks a lot for watching, and we'll catch you next time.